streaming live. Look to YouTube. YouTube is live. Let's start off with a very professional drink so I don't die. Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We're going to jump into this in 1 second. Everybody, cool. I'm audible. Alright, let's just jump into this then. How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 207. I'm your host, Spencer Presley, and joining me on this very special, definitely not a day late podcast is all of you beautiful, fabulous, handsome, amazing listeners out there. Whether it be live in the chat like P4, the abridged animation, or anyone out there listening to the audio version on iTunes, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever. We are here to talk all about some Persona 5 Strikers. I know, surprising. So, a little bit of an update for me. So, last week's episode was literally recorded on launch day. A lot of my launch day was spent at work, hunting down a steelbook copy, and did not get a lot of time playing. Sadly, have not really gotten that much farther. I'm literally, as of this recording, and, everyone's going to be getting this episode on the 3rd of March. I just finished the second jail, so I'm still very, very early. It's one of those weird things. I was thinking of myself today. I was like, I've been clamoring for this game almost as much for the English version as I was when the Japanese version came out last year. And what's so interesting about it is, like, I also, like, want to just, like, beat it really quickly so I can experience the story in English. But at the same time, I'm like, well, we don't really know when the next kind of big Atlas game we're going to get is. So, like, really, why, like, kind of rush through it? So, it's been sort of nice just to kind of go at my own pace. I'm doing all of the side missions as they come up. I'm really just kind of sinking my teeth into this. This is a game I really, really want to just kind of get everything done in. Not because I feel like I have to. I've never been that kind of person. Just because I really, really enjoy playing this so much. But just in case we're not ignoring the chat, what is up to Killamo as well? Mirth, thank you for dropping by real quick. Oh, don't worry. There will be no spoilers here. We're too early to even spoil ourselves. Jagingus, Demi Crow, and Adrian Jabroni. Man, if that was your real name, that'd be great. Thank you all for being here live. First time being live on the podcast, Adrian. Much appreciated. But yeah, so this will be a spoiler-free kind of impressions and chit-chat. I'll be looking at live chat for questions. I'll be looking at the Discord, Twitter, Facebook, any of those questions that came in from yesterday. So, real quick kind of update. I want to talk impressions for me now. So, a little bit of context. If you don't know, I imported the game last year when it came out in Japan as Scramble. And I beat it in, say, like a week or so. Like, I was definitely, like, kind of steamrolling it. I think it helped that life was a lot slower now, which is still kind of funny compared to I beat the game when we weren't in a pandemic, whereas now we are. But, hey, it's the world we live in, I guess. But, besides that, though, I was really surprised of, like, I was wondering, is this game going to still kind of have that wow factor for me? Because I've never imported a game. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I've never imported such a story-heavy game before its a Western release. The last Atlas game I imported, and I guess actually, yeah, the only ones I've ever imported were Persona 4 Dancing and then Persona 3 and 5 Dancing. I imported both of the Vita versions of that, just because it's like, yes, I know they have their, like, English dialogue moments. 3 and 5 don't really have a story, but those were games that I was like, I have to play as soon as humanly possible. I really, really wanted. And also another good reason is because you can get them physically or with, like, the special editions we definitely didn't get over here. Coogan in the chat, I just finished Strikers, but that platinum really grinded to get. Yeah, so, like, I'm not a newbie to, like, Koei Tecmo games. They're known for, like, having pretty grindy platinums. Like, from what my friends have told me, like, it's grindy. Like, the most grindiest trophy you need is to max out your bond level. But at the same time, it's like, I'm also used to Dynasty Warrior games where I'm used to those games where it's like beat every difficulty level, do every character, do every level, get all these secret things, and like I feel like most Warriors games take like 400 hours to platinum, but it's probably a little bit of an exaggeration. Demicro says, was P5D and P3D Vita supposed to release in the West? Yeah, they did release in the West, but it's digitally only. So for those two games, I played it, yeah, even a couple months later, actually. I played it in, I think, like, September of 2018. They released November. No, I got review code in November. RIP me getting review codes. Game came out in December of 2018 for everybody else. Hilariously, like, I think the same day as Smash Brothers, Smash Ultimate. But yeah, as Jay, oh boy, I'm gonna mess this one up. Laquista says yes, both of those are released digitally, so importing them in Japan was such an ease, as well as the fact that they were super dirt cheap because they didn't really sell that well. Juliar saying, the only trophy I have left so far for Strikers is to max out all bond skills, and that's going to take hours of grinding. So, I've not really looked in too deep with New Game Plus, just because I knew this was a game I wanted to really sink in. Like, I didn't want to grind in the Japanese version. I was fine doing a general playthrough, but I didn't really want to grind into it. But my plan is, if I'm mentally and God willing able enough to platinum this game on PS4 for the English version, I would like to go back and platinum the Japanese one as well, but that's still many, many, many hours off. First question from the chat by P4 the Abridged Animation. Spencer, what do you think about the two new characters, Sophie and Zenkichi? What's so funny about this, and I know that, like, I know this is like the opposite of a hot take. I can't think of a new, like, non-mainline Atlas game that just knocked it out of the park with characters this good since maybe Persona Q. And even with, like, Ray and Zon, like, they weren't, like, flawless in PQ, but, like, I really, really am surprised how good the adaptation they did for Sophie is, and I love how different Zenkichi is. Zenkichi, from the English version, I think Tom just fucking killed it. Like, Tom really brings a interesting and unique angle to that character that, even though I'm experiencing that story for the second time, like, Tom's just kind of delivery as Zenkichi of, like, I'm kind of out there. You don't really know. Can you trust me? Can you not? I'm a good guy, but for what reason? Stuff like that. I just, like, I'm such a huge fan of both of them, and it's just so nice to finally get new characters that don't just feel like, oh my god. Like, there are things to like about Kasumi. There's things to like about Alex. Jesus, she's so forgettable. I even forgot about her. But it's like, there are very few characters that I can be like, oh, you're like, from the start you're really good. Like Maruki. I like Maruki. A lot of his beginning story is super filler. It's Phyllis Diller level filler. Jose is a great character design-wise. Jose has nothing to do story-wise. So Jose and Royal is like, I feel like if you ask most Royal fans a year after it's released, they'd be like, Jose who? It's like, which really sucks, but that's just because, like, he's just new to kind of be new. He had no real impact on the story. Narakami, what is up being in the chat? Also, yes, Killamo is very right. We all must refer to Daddy Zenkichi as such, or I will also accept Zaddy for Zenkichi Daddy. Demicro saying, P5S has made me cry more than P5R. Yeah, so, like, I can't tell, like, this is kind of less impressions and just more like a moment of, like, happiness. Oh, Juliar, I just have to interrupt myself. So right. Jose made Mementos a million times better. Jose just makes the entire thing so fucking great. I'd pick up stamps and stickers for that kid all day. So, what's so funny though about the story and seeing everyone's reactions online is I'm seeing people on Twitter being like, oh my god, like, I love the story, like, the gameplay is so much more fun, everything's balanced so well, the music's amazing. Like, actually hearing the overwhelming just flood of positivity over the last week has been so nice, and I was kind of worried we wouldn't really get that a lot with the release sort of being split up from digital deluxe edition and standard edition owners, but wow, it's it's just really been awesome to just see all of that kind of happen, because, like, for me, I don't know if I'm, like, kind of, like, missing out on other people. I don't even mean this as, like, a way of, like, tooting my own horn. I don't know anyone else in the Atlas community, or just the Persona fandom, or even SMT fandom. I don't know anyone who was championing this game as hard. Like, it's from the day I played it, especially to beating it and waiting for that announcement finally, I didn't know anyone else who was, like, beating the drum like me of, like, announce this game, let's get going, it's great. Like, this game is, like, a slam dunk. It's, like, the fact that I saw reviews, like, are in the low 8s, and I'm like, a little low. It just goes to show of, like, yeah, I'm probably biased because I love the developer and I love the, like, world that it's based in, but, like, it's so out of anything anyone would expect. And the fact that I'm playing it now in English, and I'm just as excited about this as I am when I first played it a year ago. It's like all they really did was translate it and give it an English dub, but I'm already eating it up like it's the first time I'll ever get it. It's like one of those rare moments of, people sometimes will be like, you really love a game when you want to forget about it completely. Like, you want to just completely take that experience out of your brain so you can experience it all over again. This is one of those rare times where with Strikers, I'm definitely getting that moment of, okay, I can finally just, like, experience this the way I would have wanted last year, but God knows I wasn't going to wait. Alright, let's catch up our chat really quick. Kyrian says, would an Xbox version of Strikers be a Koei Tecmo decision to make, or Atlas Japan? Okay, so 100% it's an Atlas decision. I think Atlas knows there's a market on Xbox who'd be willing to play it, much like Yakuza, but I don't think they have... I don't think they're risky enough to put something even like Persona 5 Strikers on a platform like that, because it obviously would run well. The PC version even has the Xbox button prompts in there. There's literally nothing technically stopping it outside of a financial aspect. So it's literally just leads it to Xbox fans probably make Atlas a little nervous, or at the same time, they're waiting, similarly with Yakuza, for Microsoft to come on over with the piggy bank and be like, alright baby, let's go and put it on Game Pass and make everyone kind of freak their stuff out. Also, it might just be one of those things of, like, spread out the release. I know people probably don't want to hear that, but, like, I bet if they released Strikers in 3 months on Xbox and made, like, a Series X version, people would, like, freak out and probably buy it again, and it would give the game another bump. So hopefully something like that can happen. I wouldn't triple dip and buy the Xbox version, unless there was a physical one, which actually would be kind of funny. Like, seeing a Persona game on Xbox would be a really, really weird feeling. I never stopped looking at those copies of Arena and Ultimax and stopped thinking that was weird. That was one of those funny ones. Like, Catherine doesn't look weird to me. It's like, it's its own thing. But specifically Persona, just because we haven't really had anything classically Megaten on Xbox since 9. Let's go back to here. Oh my gosh. Kugan says, I honestly need to see a Zenkichi and Maruki interaction. Yeah, it's like, the fan fiction alone would, like, blow things up. That's why I thought it was so funny when the Persona 5 Mementos Missions author ended up doing that piece of Zenkichi and Maruki smoking together, of like, oh my god. Like, just imagine, like, a cutscene of just them taking a smoke break and talking about working with both of them. It would just be so much fun. Like, you wouldn't even have to make, like, a, like, big thing out of it. Just, like, a character interaction little study moment. It's like, you know what I need to do? I need to basically bribe Tom and whoever voices Maruki, who I'm totally blanking on now. Need to basically just make, like, a little fan script of them, like, RPing with each other, and everyone will, like, lose their minds. Alright. Chugga. Narukami says, I've already seen toaster memes for Sophie. I knew it was just a matter of time. I must say, I'm kind of like, I actually haven't seen a lot of memes, like, at Sophie's expense, like, with toaster stuff. The only thing, like, I've really seen from it is I'm surprised at how many people like her, actually. I thought Zenkichi I knew was a slam dunk. It's like you're literally just lying to yourself if you don't like Zenkichi. I could see people maybe getting annoyed by Sophie, but I'm really glad the execution didn't lead it that way. Kyrian brings up a great point. I want to talk about difficulty. So Kyrian says, I've only died a couple of times on Strikers because I got careless during some mini-boss and fights. The game is pretty easy on normal mode. So Kyrian, you say that, but the fact that you've already died at all is already an enormous step up from Royal. There were literally, like, large swaths of people I know who, and similar to me, I never died in Royal. Never once. Never came close. Never, like, even became a thing. And the challenge alone in Strikers, and I like how the difficulty is actually very tangibly different. Like, playing on normal, you're going to get a challenge. Like, it's a good normal. It's very, very well balanced. Hard is definitely going to beat you up a little bit. I'm excited to see the reaction from people going on Merciless. Obviously, this is an RPG. You can grind. You can, like, kind of cheese the system if you want, especially as an action game. So it's a little bit easier in the sense of, like, yeah, so, like, you're not waiting for certain aspects. Like, the hardest part about the game is going to be managing your SP, making sure you dodge at the right time, and keeping a good, updated, proper party. But already, like, those systems alone being in there, and the fact that I know people are dying while playing through this game, I think that goes to show that it's balanced. Like, I don't think you have to die to be a properly balanced game, but I think you need to kind of show that there's a... Like, you need to show some form of challenge in difficulty for it to really matter. Like, one of my favorite things is when people are playing the beginning of Strikers, be like, oh my god, this game's so easy. Like, you're just blowing through enemies, there's no real challenge until you get to a mini-boss. And then when you're in a mini-boss, for the first time, you kind of first get it and like, oh, okay, if I'm not playing the game the way it wants to be played, it's going to be a bad time. Jaginga says, I think it'd be good for one more P5 spinoff where we get Royal stuff and Striker stuff maybe in the same game, mostly for the characters, and to cap off the P5 story, potentially before P6. See, so the problem I think is, and this has come up a couple of times in the podcast, but this is really tough. It's like, yes, they're in the best spot the series has ever been with P5 in terms of handling the story with Royal and Strikers. The problem is the messy road it took to get there. Obviously, P5 did a lot of stuff that people really liked, but at the same time, dancing very much fell flat. The anime spinoff very much fell flat. PQ2, apparently 3 people played it. And only now are these games seeing critical and financial success. So I'm sure Alice is in a bit of a weird position of like, okay, maybe we went about pimping out P5 the wrong way. Like, clearly, like, there's a demand for it there, but they just need to actually put the effort and the quality into it. Like, these quicker titles like Dancing and whatnot, like, those weren't giving an investment the way they were hoping for. Like, something like the Dancing spinoff, which should be an absolute banger. It's like, I think when you, like, people will dunk on all the dancing games just because they just don't like rhythm games or they think they're a cash-in. But if you also look at people who are saying, oh my gosh, I wish they put DLC for Strikers and Royal into P5D, it's like, yeah, of course, because it's like all of these great songs that are just not in there at all. Why is the stream at 480p? Stream's probably at 480p because internet. I don't know, man. Hey, we're doing our best here. As long as everyone can hear me, that's all I ask. Let's see. Narukami also says, I like how Strikers respects our time too. It's a breath of fresh air to have a game to be 30 to 40 hours. Yes, that's also another really, really nice thing of like, it is a respectable length. You're not going to feel like you're getting gypped. No one can come out there and be like, oh my god, Persona 5 Strikers, it's another... Like, well, I always find it funny when people are like, Persona 5, that game's 200 hours! Like, I hear that a lot with, like, games media type, and I think it's just so funny of, like, I look at my clock for Royal and Vanilla, and I'm like, I beat both of those in under 100, and I wasn't even really rushing. Like, Royal, you can maybe say I was kind of skipping some stuff, like, in terms of, like, okay, I've seen, let's tick, 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 especially for, like, the not voiced things, but it's just so funny for me of just, like, yeah, like, they're long games for sure, but sometimes I think people, whether it be on purpose or not, have a bad reputation of, okay, here's this game series, it's monumentally long. Like, don't get me wrong, when a game's long like that, and if you can get 200 hours out of one playthrough, good for you. But I just don't know how someone on, like, their first playthrough is playing through Persona 5 Royal and getting into 150 hours, like, alone. Other things, like, kind of the inverse. I remember people were saying when the Japanese version came out, less so with the American version, with Strikers, they were like, anyone who beats this game in under 30 hours, you legit just skip the story. There are so many hours and hours and hours of cutscenes. It's like, cool if you don't want the story, but, like, while this is a very, very big action game, at the same point, it's also, like, I'd say at least half of it is story. So you're kind of, like, screwing yourself out of a good experience there. Okay, let's see. People mentioning their 4th, 5th, and, like, 6th time in there. Narcomi also says, where does the series go from here? I would say, safe answer, they have no plans for anything else with Persona 5, and they're already in pre-production for 6. With Studio Zero working on ReFantasy, I think the Royal team / Golden team are now working on 6 on their own, which will be a good thing. I think for them to finally start with the creative lead and not just be in charge of making the definitive editions, or quote-unquote definitive editions, that's about it. Choo. Kyrian says the he host scene is probably my favorite part in Strikers. I saw a little bit of it, like I got a kind of spoiled on the English dub of it. I'm not super in love with what I saw, but I did like try to like get away from it before I saw all of it, so I won't judge it too hard until I get there, but I literally just got to the 3rd jail, so I'm just about to get to it. Julie R. says, I just want the end scene in Royal to be explained. So, Julie, I know I'm a little late for when you asked this, but I'm assuming, and if anyone here has not beat Royal, cover your ears for like 30 seconds. Okay, cool. So, I think people get really hung up on the fact that, like, Joker in Royal's end is, like, he goes on a trip back home by himself, and the other Phantom Thieves kind of distract the cops from tailing him, and Maruki gives him a lift to the train station, and then when he's on the train, he sees what he thinks is Akechi. My big whole thing of this is, it doesn't change anything about the ending, it just kind of puts them in a different spot, and it puts them in a more logical spot than the ending of Persona 5. Like, I don't think any part of Persona 5 and Royal's endings contradict each other. The only difference is, it shows that Maruki is a relevant factor, Kasumi is alive / ignored. Like, oh my god, their goodbye in the train scene is like totally laughable. And Akechi might be alive. That's like all we know. So it's just one of those things of, I get why some people kind of get hung up on it, but I definitely don't understand why some people are like, vanilla doesn't make sense, or Royal makes sense, or one's the canon, one's the not. The point of the ending is he goes back home. Like, that's literally the entire point of the ending. It doesn't matter if it was a road trip or on a train. Let's see here. Mark Garcia, why is there an ad on the live stream? There should be an ad for when you click in, but if people are getting like ads in the middle of the live stream, let me know and I should be able to stop that. Kyrian says, Spencer, how do you feel about the English translation for Strikers? So, it's a mixed bag. I think the localization is very, very good. I think a lot of the implementation of the voice acting is really rough. I think there's a couple of takes, like more than one time I've had a take where I'm like, did you say that line correctly? Like, sometimes I'm hearing lines, like, they're sped up, like they're just going really fast for some reason, and they don't really have to. I think all the animated scenes are fine, but a lot of times, like, when you're in gameplay, or battles, or there's cutscenes in engine, it's really sloppy sometimes. Like, and to the point where I'm like, I looked at a lot of reviews for this game, and I don't know how no one really brought up the audio issues. Like, there are multiple times where people's levels just aren't evened out, and it sounds really weird. Especially, like, yeah, I get it, you're working from home, but at the same time, someone is listening to this, I hope, and going over it. Like, that's why there's an editor. You can bump up the levels for Yusuke and keep him on edge with Makoto, so really odd. I kind of want to wait till I get to the game. Like, I hope it evens out. Maybe it's like the anime where, like, the audio issues are really bad in the beginning but kind of get better towards the ends. But the fact that they're in there at all is really disappointing and really distracting. Guggen brings up a really, really great point. Yeah, Haru finally getting screen time is such a good thing. So, yeah, the fact that this game just starts and the entire Phantom Thieves are all together is, like, such a blessing of, like, imagine how easy and annoying it would have been to have to unlock each new, like, oh, guys, we gotta go to Sendai to go pick up Haru or whatever, and then just, like, immediately putting that roadblock up there. Like, the fact that you only have to unlock one character is really, really nice, and it makes sense story-wise, and it's just one of those things of, like, game, thank you for respecting what it means to be a sequel without having to, like, dumb it down because it's a video game. Mark says, question, after playing this, what would you prefer as the final spin-off? Sequel to P5, P5 Arena, or Strikers 2? Oh. I think I'm going to have to be greedy, and I would say Strikers 2. While I'm sure a lot of people would be yelling at themselves and be like, you gotta get Arena! It's like, nah, I think I would like Strikers 2, like a more refined and improved version of this, because I think that team can learn a lot of lessons from this. And Strikers 2 would be a really, really, really great send-off, especially if you could just go crazy with that cast. Get everyone here. Make it the fucking Smash Brothers of SMT. You'd have a lot of fun. Pi Studio says, some of Haru's lines are super fast. Yeah, I know it's the same with Yusuke. And you bring up a great point of they don't really have to match the lip flap, so really what's the whole point? People kind of chipping in about the audio issues being in the beginning, standing out. What do you think of the Steam edition of P5S? So I don't have the computer version of Strikers just because I don't play PC games. I've touched it a little bit. It's fine. It's definitely going to be a case-by-case thing of, like, it's not the best port ever. It's more than serviceable. It's going to have its issues if, like, you want to put the time into fixing it. It's one of those things, but I've never really been the best place for, like, PC kind of comparisons and talks. It's more of, like, I've seen just as many people say it's a great port as I have say it's crashing for me all the time. Juliar says it's just as bad at the final boss as it is at the start for the audio stuff. So yeah, that's really disappointing. I will say, I bet there are patches coming for it, but also at the same time, I've already seen mods out there for it. So at the very least, like, people are going to be out there and people are going to be able to start kind of taking care of issues if they don't get patched or really arise. But I have faith though that if not Atlas, Koei Tecmo is going to do it. Because, I mean, like, for the love of God, look at Dynasty Warriors 8. Dynasty Warriors 8 is a game that came out in 2014 and literally got a patch in 2021. It's just, like, one of the craziest things ever. Speaking of crazy things ever, I asked you guys for impressions and questions, and I've been focusing on the live chat because you are all very lovely, beautiful people watching this live and listening. Let's be real. There's no video here. So let's go with some Twitter questions first. First question comes from Kirian as well. Says, do you think Koei Tecmo could still add DLC like Kasumi and Akechi, or are they moving on from Strikers? I would say they've already moved on many, many months ago. Like, literally, the only real work they had to do was putting in the All-Out Attack pack and the DLC pack for the Western version. DLC, could it happen? Yes. It's too late, unfortunately. So that's kind of why I'm also leaning in the, like, just go ham on a sequel / Extreme Legends version of this, even though I know they can't really call it Extreme Legends. So DLC, no, I'm going to cry a lot about it, but I think especially with all the goodwill it's having after its worldwide release now, and it is the best-selling Persona spin-off of all time. It's kind of one of those things of, like, you'd be really dumb not to make a sequel, but I just don't know how quickly you can make one. Because remember, while Omega Force is known for putting games out at a pretty fast pace, at the same time, though, it's really weird because Strikers, by comparison, like, took them over 3 years, which is very, very, very long, at least by Koei Tecmo standards. Next question comes from Kuro on the Midnight Channel. It says, do you think Persona 5 Strikers 2 is the next spinoff they are going to release? I would say it's the next spinoff they should release, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Atlus kind of does an arena situation of... See, this is a tough one of, like, I could see Atlus never touching this again as, like, a partnership thing, or looking at its success and wanting to do something crazier. Like, I was talking about this with LaRue last week of... I wouldn't be surprised if they saw how successful Strikers was and Scramble and just went, oh, okay, well, let's just do this with SMT then. And let's just make, like, an SMT equivalent of this and make that series a crap ton of money because you have a way larger roster of stuff you could do and are way less tied to series and basically standards as you were with Persona 5. Demi Crow says, do you think we could get a Jack Bros remix announced at the concert? And when do you think Persona 5 Strikers 2 is in the works? Man, everyone wants the sequel to this game. It's like a good sign of a good game when, like, the week after it's out, people are like, let's get the sequel. Come on, baby, let's go. So, obviously, sadly, no Jack Bros remake. I want to, like, kind of throw my sense out there. I've not talked about this a lot. I've, like, only tweeted about it, like, twice. But I really, really don't get why people are getting their hopes up so much for this concert this month. So, in Japan, they are doing a virtual concert for SMT3 featuring Nocturne music and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll have music from the whole series. I wouldn't watch it have, like, a song from SMT5 or something. But people are kind of looking at this concert as like, we're going to get news, it's going to be crazy, we're going to get new games, we're going to get SMT5 trailer, like, oh my god, Kaneko's going to come out and jizz all over the screen. And it's like, man, I would love to get Kaneko's jizz all over the screen, but I really don't think we're going to get any news. And if we get any news at all, it's going to be maybe at best the Western release date for Nocturne, because that game's done. So, like, just put it out already, dude. I mean, I want to be wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I hate seeing everyone get their hopes up and being like, yeah, baby, let's go, let's get SMT5. It's like when you would see any Nintendo Direct news and people would be like, is it SMT5's time? Can it happen? I think at the very least is, with everyone getting their hopes up, it'll at least show people, if there's no footage here, you are 100% not getting that game this year. Now, if they show footage at this concert, I will gladly eat my words and do something embarrassing to, like, prove myself out there, but I really, really do not expect that to be the case. Oh my god, yeah. Strikers style Raito game would be amazing. Like, it was the anniversary of Devil Summoner 1, and someone was talking about, imagine if Koei Tecmo did Raito 3, and I'm like, oh my god, just imagine that game with competent combat. It would be so, so, so great. Paul and Banique says, what can we expect to see anything for Persona 6? It's been 6 years since P5. I'll say this, you'll get a teaser probably, maybe even a trailer. Like, trailers and the teasiest of trailers. No gameplay for sure. But they're in no hurry. They have SMT5 to finish. They have Re-Fantasy to actually finally announce. I guess more re-reveal as opposed to announce Re-Fantasy. They have so many other projects going on that, like, P6 is clearly being worked on, but is not a priority. Even though I said that you will most likely see it this year, like, this year, it's just because this is a anniversary year. Mako Tensei says, what is up? I just beat Scramble. I liked it. Very strong 8. I appreciate that, Mako. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Just out of curiosity, how many hours did it take you, and what was your difficulty on? See, I immediately just started doing this podcast after I got home from work. This has been a very long week, everybody, so if I, am low energy or the show seems short, you know why. Mark, do not apologize for so many comments. That's what the live chat is for. You must be having a hard time catching or reading all of them. Yes, if I ever don't, look at anyone's comment, feel free to spam it, understandably. Awkward Persona is at work right now. I am very, very sorry to hear that. Last one from Twitter, Mr. Megiddo, or Megiddo Man, says, do you think we'll get a gameplay trailer for SMT5 and a Western release date? Yeah, going back to it, Nocturne release date, sure. Anything SMT5, big nope. But, again, Atlas, prove me wrong, baby. Prove me wrong, please. Let me eat my words. Put me on the dumb struggle accounts, or whatever people do. Speaking of dumb thing people do, let us go to some Discord questions as I open up and see Neptunia right in my face. Alright, Sophie says, Sophie versus Aegis, which one do you choose? So, this might be blasphemous, and I'm a little bit biased. I think Sophie's the easy winner. Now, Sophie obviously is not actually a robot. Sophie's more artificial intelligence than anything, but because it's, not human, I guess it's kind of why the comparison comes up. So, for me, Sophie is my preferred, just because Sophie actually has more of a personality, at least from the get-go. Sophie kind of has that sort of post-Persona 3 personality that, it took the spin-offs for Aegis to finally get. I like the design of Sophie a lot. I really like... I really like and also think is dumb at the same time. I think Sophie has, somehow mastered having a persona that is equally cool as it is stupid when you think about it. So that's kind of funny. Awkward Persona, yes. This is a paid concert. You have to pay for it if you want to watch it legally. I guarantee you there will be tons of people side streaming it, so don't worry that much. Mark says, what SMT do you want to have as a Dynasty Warriors? I think with SMT proper, you gotta go the Hyrule Warriors route of, Hyrule Warriors 1. Just get everybody. And, maybe just do all mainline, do all the main stuff, have things as DLC. But with SMT, it's you can't just limit it to one game. It's not like a Persona 5. The casts are not that strong enough to lead an entire game. And I would really, really love, even just other stuff. Man, imagine just, actually getting to play as Walter. Imagine actually getting to, cast magic and, do crazy stuff with, Jonathan and Isabel. All that thing. My God, even then thinking, if they could get crazy, DLC with, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. They could get really, really crazy. Oh, Mark, bringing up the harder question. Labris or Sophie? Labris is really tough, because I really like Labris, and Labris has had a lot more story. I'll put an asterisk in that question, because that's really tough, yeah. Because I really, really, really like Labris. Next question we have is from Daniel1018. What do you think about the difficulty of Persona 5 Strikers? I would say probably the best difficulty balance any Persona game has ever had. For SMT, the comparison's a little bit harder, but especially for the kind of genre this is easily one of the most balanced Persona games they've ever released. Especially compared after Royal. 481 says, I really like for you to discuss how the game performs on Steam after it got to the top solo chart. So I think what 481 means is how it's been performing sales-wise, and I'm really glad to be asked this. So I'm super glad to see that this game is doing well. It was in the top 10 of Europe. It was in the top 10 of Australia. It's been on the top bestsellers on Steam for a couple of days. Obviously, it's not going to beat the top one of Valheim or whatever, but from everything I've heard, it is way outsold their expectations on Steam. Atlas is really happy with how it's doing on PlayStation. PlayStation's actually been advertising it a lot on their store, which I think is good. Nintendo has been pushing it really hard, but it's not really been a big seller. I've not looked at the best sellers on it. I can actually look on that right now. Nintendo eShop best sellers. But yeah, to my knowledge, it's not been cracking the best sellers list for a minute. But let me get a drink and check. Alright, Nintendo, I'm going to give you one last chance to show me. Here we go. Alright, so bestsellers, no surprise, we've got Among Us, 3D World, Bravely Default 2, look, Little Nightmares, Minecraft, Stardew Valley, Mortal Kombat, Ghost and Goblins. Like, Ghost and Goblins Resurrection is in the bestsellers and Strikers is lower. Like, so here's where Strikers at. It is below Spyro, Doom, Little Nightmares 3, and Mario 3D All-Stars, but just above Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Party, Hades, Unravel 2, and Curse of the Dead Gods. So it's like, I'm sure it's doing fine, but I think it's definitely, from everything I've seen, the Switch version is definitely getting the least amount of like praise and press. Yeah, so it's like, it's fine. I don't think people are like clamoring for it. I think it's really funny. I've noticed Atlas is doing social media ads specifically for the... So they're specifically making ads for the Switch version, but all the footage they're showing is from the PS5 version or PC version, and it makes me laugh a lot. Like, why are you showing this 4K 60 version and only, like, here's the Switch one, play Persona on Switch. It's 4K, baby, let's go. HDR. Dumb little aside, though. So yes, I'm really glad it's doing well. I'm very excited to see the MPDs. Even though the game released pretty late into February, and February is a shorter month, I would not be surprised if the game ends up charting in the top 10 for February. February didn't have a lot of games, but even around where I live, I've noticed it's been selling. I noticed not a lot of copies are on shelves, so it's been doing pretty good digitally. It's got nothing really to stopping it on physically. So fingers crossed that it does well. Again, tons and tons of competition out there, but I think in terms of new stuff and release date, God, it took us forever, but I think this is one of the rare times where Atlas picked a good week to release this game. Alright, going back to Discord questions, we talked about the audio issues, talked about the new characters. I think all we have left then is Facebook questions. So if you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to drop them in the chat now before I wrap up. RIP Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, by the way, for getting delayed today. Not surprising anyone, but very, very sad. Okay. And the Facebook group, scrolling past people. There we go. Would you like a sequel to Strikers and Royal where Sophie, Wolf, Black Mask, Akechi, and Violet all team up with the rest of the Phantom Thieves, while the investigation team and Shadow Operatives also join in as a big crossover to the 25th anniversary? So think Arena or Strikers 2. I think at that point you're getting too much into Persona Q territory, and then by the time you're bringing in that many people for an anniversary, I always kind of have to go back and ask people of like, okay, cool, if you're going to do all that, but then at the same time, it's like, why not, like, just include Persona 1 and 2's cast? It's like, come on, dude. So it's like, do it, but if you're going to go all out, go all out. Like, represent the whole series. If Strikers can include a representation of Persona 1 and 2, so can Atlas. Sebastian Gomez, who, again, I probably just totally butchered the last name. What do you want for the 25th anniversary? Just do ports. Like, honestly, I'm aware of the, like situation we're in, especially with game dev time right now. Just port modern games people want to more systems. That's about it. I guess if I had to, like, give, like, if I had to give, like, a specific thing, give us a PSP trilogy. Give us PSP 1, 2, and 2 again. So Eternal Punishment and Innocent Sin. Put those on modern systems. Give people P3. Give people P4. P5, whatever. You know, you got time. No rush. But you give those games the respect that they need. And just to make me finally shut up, please just port Persona Q to something that's not the 3DS. Talked about this one. This one's from the what do you think about a Raito game in the style of P5? Came from Kevin Mai on Facebook as well. And our final one comes from Aldo Della Rocca says, a proper 25th anniversary title would be a full-blown Persona 1 remake featuring references to the future or time-traveling shenanigans like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think a lot of people would be very, like... I think you will have as many people excited about that as they would be mad about that. And I only think that in the sense of, like, P1 doesn't have a lot of nostalgia for most fans unless you've played it. And I just can't see Atlas being like, let's go... I'm in the camp of I don't think Atlas should remake any Persona game, but like I think if you saw Persona 1 remake got announced, somehow at the same time Persona 3 would start trending on Twitter, and you would see all these babies come out and be like, remake P3! P3 needs it more! It's like, just play Portable, you bunch of wusses, whatever. It's like obviously, like, I'm joking, but it's like there's a very vocal fan base who thinks P3 needs to be remade first, and I don't think a Persona 1 remake would, like, shut them up. You know what? For a week with, like, not a lot of news, and me being pretty early into Strikers, 45 minutes, not that bad. Thank you all for joining me live. Let me see if there were any other last-minute questions. Not seeing anything. Oh, just got one here from Kieran one more time. How would you feel about a Persona 5 strategy RPG like Devil Survivor? Oh my god. Now I just want to see Devil Survivor versions of the P5 cast. That would be really, really good. I'm all here for it, but that's just because I'm very, very, very Devil Survivor deprived. But hey, speaking of Devil Survivor... Hint, 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 I've got a video coming up this weekend. I can't tell you what it's about, but please be excited. It cost a lot of money to make, for a couple of reasons. Mako Tensei says, literally, Persona 3 Fez has a party control mod. Just play. Jigingus says, if any Persona game should get a remake, it should be P2 with the combo. Yes, that is also another one. Like, that's why I think, like, that the original trilogy of 1, Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment. It's like, just please give those a better way to play them, for the love of God. But yeah, so that was the episode this week. Thank you all for listening so much. Thank you all for watching live on YouTube. If you would like to check us out on YouTube, you can find my channel by looking at Spencer Presley or just typing in Shin Megami Tensei Network. Should come up either way. I try and do at least one podcast and one video every week, if not more, so gonna look into doing some Twitch streaming for maybe off-topic stuff, maybe my platinum grind for Strikers or whatnot, so gonna be looking into Twitch, but not super sure about that, at least right now, just because I want to get my original playthrough kind of done, and nobody wants to watch my first playthrough as a live stream, I'm pretty sure. Besides that, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Torchwood4SP. You can also follow the podcast at SMT Network. That is the one I'm way more active on. Can join the Facebook group by going to facebook.com/groups/SMT Network. Can also join the Facebook page there if you want to catch up with all the updates, but not commit to a group setting if you're one of those people. Besides that, check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you can find podcasts. Rate and review us. Really, really helps. Anything you can do to help just spread the word, you know? Like, think of this podcast as Devil Survivor. It can't come back or be popular again without your help. So, you know, you gotta help. You gotta bring out the love. You gotta tell the world about SMTN. Like, let's be honest, guys. We're over 200 episodes. Again, I'm very unpopular. Like, aggressively unpopular. Anyone out here who likes SMTN, thank you so much. I love to... I love all of you forever taking 1 second to listen or watch anything I do, so I appreciate it. But, we are the only SMT Atlas Persona podcast that is going on a, I like to assume, regular basis, so keeping more people interested is a good way to keep that going. Speaking of ways to get people going, and Edward Robbles in the chat reminds me, when's the giveaway? So yes, couple giveaways planned. I just finished up the one for Strikers. That was the full game giveaway. I have actually like 3 giveaways kind of lined up right now. I'm just sort of waiting for the next one to start. Next up, I have like a group giveaway planned with a couple of other friends slash people on YouTube and online. Gonna be giving away some of the Persona 5 Strikers pre-order pens, and by some miracle, I actually got a Persona 5 Strikers PS4 Steelbook that is sealed, waiting for some lovely, lovely person to win it and hope to God not sell it for money, because I would like to do a giveaway for that, but I would also like to make sure it goes to a home where someone's going to use it, keep it in their collection, and not just put it on eBay and make like $100. But either way, that's all for the future. The future is now. It's happening. You're living in it. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. Thank you all for listening to me ramble for like almost an hour by myself. Could not have done it without all of you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching. Twitter Goomba will not win the Steelbook. I will doubt Twitter Goomba does not get the Steelbook. I promise you. Either way, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy Strikers. Enjoy waiting for the concert where there will definitely not be any SMT5 news. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube. All the links are in the description. Check out the Discord. Try to talk to people. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for listening to wherever. Am I repeating myself a lot? You bet I am. I had a long day. It's been a long week, and I am a long way to go before I'm even done with it. So, thank you all so much. I will see you later. Goodbye, everybody. And then I end the podcast. And then I say hello to everybody in the live chat who's being beautiful. Hello, Coogan. Hello, Mark. Hello, Press Turn System. That's a great name. I'd give that Steelbook to my friend who is a big P5 fan. You're thinking the right way. Thank you for watching live. Jagingus, Edward, Jack, Gee. I really wanted to call you Jackie. Do bond ranks carry over into New Game Plus? This is one of my things. I've actually not started a NGP playthrough yet, but I assume they would. Otherwise, that'd be really, 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 really slow and really, 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 really hard. But I'd say look it up first, but I think the answer is yes. Thank you for watching. Mako, Killamo, Mark, Awkward Persona, Pie Studio, Woo, Carrion, Woo, Awkward Persona, Demi Crow as well. Who else am I forgetting? Nom's Compendium, Paulin Benique, Alex McKenzie, all of you guys and gals and everyone. Thank you for being beautiful. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, P4 the Abridged Series. Thank you, King Narakami. Yeah, thanks for watching live. I will see you all. Probably new video going up Saturday, maybe Sunday. It's gonna be one definitely kind of different out there, but I'm very excited for you. At least hopefully other people will care about this. So a little bit of a teaser just for everyone here watching live. This weekend's video is all about the rarest SMT game ever and why no one apparently is collecting it. There are multiple reasons behind that, but thank you all once again. I will see you later. Have a good rest of your night. Stay beautiful. Stay safe. See you later. Bye.